Hey there, folks. It's this guy named Ethan the Farmer. Again, the one and only, me, myself, and I. There's only three of us. Don't ever confuse us with anybody else. And we're here in the great metropolis of Mountain Grove, Missouri. I want to ask you something. Mountain Grove, Missouri has this massive social services building for child protective services. This town ain't got hardly any people. I mean, holy crap. You can probably piss farther than the town. Oh, wait, I didn't say that out loud. The cops might charge me with something crazy. But you get what I'm saying. This is one of them towns where if you're running 65 down the freeway and you blink, you just might not ever see the town. But, this is Mountain Grove, Missouri. And they have a CYS building that's actually bigger than the police department. Why do you think that is? Well, I'll tell you right now, their CYS department can't follow their own stupid rules. Watch my first video if you want to learn what started all this mess. And here's the second one. These buffoons, social workers, cops, whatever you want to call them, they clearly don't put their underwear on right in the morning. Maybe it's on too tight. I don't know. But, situation at hand. According to Missouri statute 210.125.3, if they're going to take a minor child into custody, protective custody, they are required to file with the juvenile court no later than 12 hours after they take this child into custody. Now, they took this child into custody at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. The way I do my math, we're sometime after 4 p.m. on Friday. Now, I understand social workers have a hard time counting. Maybe they need to take off their shoes and socks because they got above 10. But the situation at hand is we got a problem because they never filed the stupid paper. We asked them for it today. They don't have it. Wasn't filed. Doesn't exist. So there's clearly an issue. And it's a major issue. They're not even following their own state law. Next point. According to 210.125.4, and it's even on the little charming yellow piece of paper that these buffoons produced, this one right here, not to exceed 24 hours without a juvenile court order. Now, this child has been in their custody because, God forbid, she go camping and sleep in the woods and have autism and freak out in the Walmart. But hey, this is life. They don't have a court order. They admitted it today. They flat do not have a court order. So it says not to exceed 24 hours on their own piece of paper. But they don't have one. I'm curious if they don't own a clock. Maybe they need a watch. I guess their cell phones don't have clocks on them. I'd almost bet they can't tell time. Maybe they're on hippie time. That's it. They're on hippie time. Because I know hippie noon is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the problem. I'll have to ask them so that we can clarify this situation. So we go down this list of requirements and nonsense and rules they're breaking because they obviously have an issue. They think it's unsafe to sleep in a tent. They almost dumped the water on their sorry selves searching the van, but they wrote right on the paper that there's not adequate water. They wrote on the paper that the child's sleeping in a tent, and they wrote on there that the child doesn't have shelter. That's their own handwriting, not mine. I didn't write this. This is the buffoons. Maybe we need to send them back to school. I mean, I understand public education's a little rough these days. Common Core math, I guess that's how these people got to where they're at. Because it's a confusing math class. And I don't understand it, but that must be what the social worker and these cops went through was Common Core. Because they sure enough didn't go to a normal math school where you learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and ABCs. I mean, they couldn't have. So, according to Missouri 210.125.4, the child must be in an imminent danger of suffering physical harm or threat of life. How does sleeping in a tent, camping, represent a physical danger suffering physical harm or other threat to life. I don't understand. Why does Walmart sell tents if they're so dangerous? Oh my God. Walmart's selling tents, and they're horribly dangerous, obviously. They threaten children's lives. Now, if you go camping in the state of Missouri, you better know that this Child Protective Services, social services clowns, and these stupid cops that can't even get their heads out of their backsides to smell oxygen think that tents are dangerous. And don't put water in water barrels, 15-gallon barrels, jugs, to bring back to the campsite so you have good drinking water, because that's not adequate water. You got to make sure you understand this. I mean, this is their own stupidity. They almost got the stupid jugs falling on them when they opened the back door because, we just open doors and don't pay attention to what's on the other side. And 15 gallons of water, well, let's see, 15 times 8, that's a little bit of weight. And I had 3 of them, so I had 45 gallons of water sitting there. It wasn't right against the door, but, cops ain't the brightest tools in the pond. So, how is this imminent threat to physical harm? Honestly, I think the cops are more of a threat to themselves with physical harm by opening a dumb door and having the water fall on them that they claim isn't there. But that's me. I guess I have too much common sense for these folks. You would think that folks from backwoods Missouri, rural Missouri, would possess at least a smidgen of common sense. But it must be in short supply in Mountain Grove, Missouri. I don't know. So, we're going to go to the next thing. According to section 210.125.3, it's supposed to set forth the facts or circumstances that resulted in this. Now, clearly, when their own paperwork doesn't agree with their stupid statements, how do we know what's fact? This is really hard to understand because it says that the child doesn't have shelter, but it says that the child's been sleeping in a tent or a van. Now, I'll tell you, teenagers like to sleep when you drive. They like to travel. That's how teenagers sleep like stinking sloths. They must be related to the thing. But anyway, yes, there was a pillow and a blanket in the back seat where the teenager rode because that was a place for the teenager to sleep while we were driving because it was like 30, 40 minutes to town from the campsite. I don't know. How many of your kids sleep in your car when you drive? Probably a bunch. It's not my kid, but I'm not going to tell the teenager they can't sleep while I'm driving. So, explain this to me because I'm just baffled as to how stupid these people are. It's supposed to be facts. Their own stupid paper disagrees with their own facts. Doesn't have adequate water, but the barrel damn near took the fool out. That was full of water. I guess that barrel must have had air in it. Couldn't have been water. I mean, I don't think air weighs quite the same as water, and that blasted thing was mighty heavy. I don't know. I don't think these people know what a fact is. I don't think they know what truth is. Why do we live in a country where tyranny is so rampant? What happened to the right to persons? Peaceful existence. We didn't do a damn thing wrong. A kid with a disability had a freak out moment. Okay? Now, this kid's had 4 freak out moments since June. Whatever. It didn't bother me. The mother even warned me that the kid does crap like this. I said, hey, whatever. I ain't worried about it. Let the kid freak out. I mean, it's not going to kill me. I can listen to a kid scream and call me dirty words. It don't bother me in the least bit. In fact, I have imaginary hearing aids. I can just turn them down. I was married at one time, and I do understand how selective hearing gain works. But, anyway. So then you go down to the Missouri Supreme Court ruling addressing these issues. Okay? And they cite this on their own stupid yellow piece of paper. It says, Missouri Supreme Court ruling 123.01. And it says that they're supposed to have reasonable cause to believe. Now, I'm a pretty damn reasonable person. I can use basic logic and reasoning and common sense. I understand that's scary. Common sense is no longer common. It crawled out the window and ran for its life because it's under attack, especially in Mountain Grove, Missouri. So, under a reasonable cause to believe, is there anybody out there that would consider it reasonable that autistic child has meltdown moment? Okay? These things happen. Whatever. I've seen them in Walmart. I've seen them all over the place. However, let the people that deal with these children that know how to address it, i.e., her mother, deal with it. Don't get the stinking cops and social services and everybody and their brother involved, because there's no point in it. It's stupid. This is a tremendous waste of the Missouri taxpayer dollars, and frankly, if it ends up being a whole big old hoop-de-doo, it's going to be a lot worse than a couple $100. Because at this point, it's a major civil rights mess, as far as I can see. This is stupid. It's beyond ignorant. They've broken every one of their own rules. Now, I'm going to tell you another little secret. I took the mother and myself, and we went to a DOT and OSHA approved drug testing site. Now, all of you folks that know me know I don't even smoke pot. I don't drink alcohol. I don't chew tobacco. Okay? I have a few vices, but that ain't it. And I don't do drugs whatsoever. And I've been in the thickest, middlest, had more drugs offered to me than you could probably shake a stick at in your life. I've probably seen more drugs than you ever care to. Don't interest me. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I can get pain medicine because of my body being so messed up. And you know what I do with them? I take them right back to the pharmacy, give them back to them fools, because that stuff is nasty crap. I don't need to be addicted to this whole bunch of horse shit. Okay? Don't need it. Not interested, not doing it. These buffoons, we went and got a private drug test. Now, those results will be back Monday, Tuesday-ish. But I'm pretty damn certain that they're going to come back clean. Now, how is the police department going to justify their stupidity statements when we have the documentation to prove that little statement about facts and reasonable, well, let's see, that's not an existent issue, is it? So, y'all know me. You know what a character I am. You know what a troublemaker I am. And I'll never not be. But I'll be damned if somebody comes up here to help me and ends up in a whole shit can of worms because some bureaucrat put his undies on too tight that morning. And I'm pretty certain that male officer did. I think his badge number is 1219. You might ask him when you call the police department. I gave you the number in the last video. Feel free to call them fools. Ask him if his boxers are too tight. I don't know if he wears boxers or briefs, but that's up to you. You can take it up with him. And figure this out, because this is just crazy. I mean, this means that every child that comes camping in the state of Missouri that sleeps in a tent is at risk for being kidnapped by the state. And the state won't even follow their own stupid rules. You're supposed to have a hearing in a courtroom within 72 hours. Well, guess what? 72 hours done came and went. And nothing. Not till next week. And they're telling the mother she can't leave to go back home. So now, not only did they jack around the kid and kidnap the kid, but now they're holding the mother hostage and violating her constitutional right to travel. And they're telling me I can't leave the state. Well, I'll tell you right now, if I want to leave the state, they can kiss my rosy red posterior. Because I'll tell them straight where to kiss it. You ain't going to violate my right to travel. You already done violated my right to persons by telling me to piss in a cup because you're bound and determined I'm a drug addict, which is a load of horse shit. The only drug addict here, I think, is probably the cops and the social worker. Why don't we drug test them? So, that's where we're at with this mess. I'll do some more videos to update you as to where this cookie crumbles. But I have a funny feeling things are fixing to get real hairy in the state of Missouri. And you know what, Mr. Governor of Missouri? I'm sorry to have to tell you, but I think every person that comes here camping, including your current residents, need to be fully aware of the risk to them and their families or friends, however it be. Because, I got all kinds of people that camp with me, all right? Anybody that knows me knows I usually have at least one, if not half a dozen folks, sometimes as many as 30 folks camping with me. I ain't got no problem with them. I camped all across this country. No issue. Except for in Missouri, for whatever reason, they don't consider a tent shelter. And I think the tent that they're in actually calls itself a shelter. On the box. Made by Ozark. I'm going to have to go take a picture of that box at Walmart, no less. That's where it was bought. Either that, or Walmart is selling something that is extremely dangerous. It's called a tent. So, anyway, I hope you guys have a good night. And stay tuned. Ethan the Farmer. And it's Friday night. It's Friday the 13th. I don't know what that means to some of you, but I hope you guys have a good night.